want to introduce a new idea. Let's examine this idea in the hopes of bringing about change. The old idea doesn't bring about change. The hope of this new idea is that we will at least take a look at what's being said. If adults stay in the adult's place, children will stay in the children's place. A place for everything and everything in its place. A child needs to stay in a child's place. I've heard that for most, if not all, of my 70 years of living. Almost all of my 70 years of living, I noticed that the adult never stayed in the adult's place and refused to let the child stay in the child's place. The child wishes to stay in their place, but the adult refuses to allow the child to stay in the child's place. As a matter of fact, the adult snatches the child out of the child's place at every turn. Adults, you snatch a child out of the child's place through familiarity, sexual abuse. Adults pimp and prostitute the youth and then act as if they don't know why the youth have sexual immorality. Having sex is an adult place, yet it's forced upon the youth. The youth who just wants to enjoy the innocence of being a youth. A child who just wants to enjoy being in a child's place. The adult refuses to let the child stay in a child's place. The adult destroys the child in the child's place by destroying the innocence of that child's place. Then the adult vilify the child who no longer has a child's place to stay in. Who remember the incident with Kirk Franklin and his son? The part of the conversation I heard was an example of an adult who didn't let a child stay in a child's place. Monique, an adult. Steve Harvey, an adult. Ricky Smiley, an adult. All came out and attacked Kirk Franklin's son. I didn't hear either one of them, Monique, Steve, or Ricky, say anything about Kirk Franklin's actions of snatching his child out of that child's place. Adults pass the child around to the adult's drug dealer or any other supplier or supplement or whatever it is they want. They pass the child around in exchange for those items. I hear all the time from adults how their parents use them to get favors from men or women. If the child tried to stay in a child's place by refusing, the adult would beat the child or threaten the child with a fate worse than beating. This woman told me that her mama almost choked her to death when she was a child, when she tried to stay in a child's place by refusing to be intimate with a dirty old dude. Now, I use the word intimate because if I use the R-A-blank-E word, my account may be flagged. Because, see, there's nothing intimate about an adult snatching a child out of that child's place. Nothing. The woman said she'd fight against the grown men who wanted to snatch her, the child, out of her place as a child. This would incur the wrath of her mama. She said one time her mama just came in and started choking on her and told her that if she refused them men again, she would choke her to death. But yet I'm sure that's one of those women who would say a child needs to stay in a child's place. Someone told me that their mama sold them as a 12-year-old to a man in his 60s for a 6-pack of beer. How was the child to stay in the child's place in this situation? How? But a child should stay in a child's place, right? You know, I was doing this group and we were just talking. And this young brother told me, and this here in Macon-Bibb County, Georgia, he said that they had a sex rink going on when he was about 12 years old. That was a sex rink going on in his neighborhood. He said when they'd be coming home from school, some of the older women would tell their mamas, let John Henry, not his name, let John Henry come over and rake the yard. I'll pay him. Or somebody would say, I need Leon, not the person's name, to come over and rake this yard or take the garbage out. I give him a little something. And he said every day after school, those 12, 11, and 12-year-old boys would be having sex with them grown women here in Macon-Bibb, Georgia. Was that an adult staying in an adult's place? Was that what it was? How was the child supposed to stay in a child's place? Because first of all, we are our children's first groomers. And that's another podcast. But parents, we groom our children to be abused by everybody else. The other people don't have to do much grooming. We groom them. But anyway, getting back to this podcast. When adults abuse children, is the adult staying in the adult's place? How does a child stay in a child's place in this situation? Children are forced to sell drugs, break in homes, steal out of stores, and many other illegal activities. These things are not a child's place. How is a child supposed to stay in a child's place when the adult keeps snatching the child out of a child's place? How? Adult, you refuse to let the child stay in a child's place. Why did you do it? I go further beneath the crust in part 7. Actually, it's part 77 of adults stay in your place. I talk about how adults would spit in the child's face, and sometimes the adult would make the child open their mouth, and the adult would spit in the child's mouth. Tobacco spit, snuff spit, hacked up flame spit. But this is the child who's told they need to stay in the child's place and respect the adult as the adult. I also talk about how when some of the young girls who were snatched out of a child's place got pregnant, the young girl would be ostracized. Subscribe, comment, like, share, and stay tuned as I go in search of sanity. Keep on churning till the butter come. Albert C. Richardson, a black man, patent the butter churn, U.S. patent number 446470, February 17th, 1891. I'm Lily Bayer. I'm just trying to create a dialogue to find a direction to healing. I'll leave you with this. If they close my book, you remember my story. A Nat Turner Runner production. Lock and load. Lily Bayer. Be encouraged.